This woman lives, sleeps, and breathes fighting heart disease and stroke. Meet her coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the wrap-up of the 10th Annual American Heart Ball, and we're visiting with Tammy Eaves, the Senior Regional Area Director for the American Heart Association. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for coming in. It was so exciting for the 3 weeks up at the Marriott, up there, focused on the 10th Annual Heart Ball. And to know that the numbers turned out the way they did, we had to get you in to highlight the event, to talk to viewers about what happened that night and throughout the weeks leading up to it, and also to talk about what's coming up within the Guacamole Division of the American Heart Association.
Great. Appreciate you asking me. We really had a fantastic evening, and it's great to be able to be here to share some of that with you.
Absolutely, Tammy. The night kicked off at 6. It felt like it never ended. It was such an amazing event that night, still floating. I think so many of the attendees. You must have had around 800, 850 that night?
There was about 860 attendees.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, which I think we were pretty much at capacity, too. We had originally thought we would have room for 900, but I believe 860 is probably about the extent of what we can get in the ballroom,
right,
which was pretty packed.
You know what you're committed for next year. You all plan on going back to the Marriott next year?
We certainly are. It was a great evening. I think our guests enjoyed it. The food was fantastic. The service was excellent. We could not have gotten better service. Mm-hmm. So we're going back and excited about it.
Great. The Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort at Grand Dunes.
Mm-hmm.
Prime location, Tammy, and so accessible for so many folks and to be oceanfront.
Right. In fact, I would love for the weather to be nice enough to be able to enjoy the nice garden patio deck that they have there. It's huge. We might could get a few more people if we could have an evening that's nice enough to enjoy that.
Good thinking. That's right. That you may want to push the Heart Ball date back a little bit.
We've thought about it.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was on a day like today.
Golly, it is amazing. It's so exciting to think the commitment that so many folks made to making this year's Heart Ball. Of course, you've been with the Guacamole Division of the American Heart Association, I guess formerly the PD Division, mm-hmm, now the Guacamole Division, for how many years, Tammy?
14.
Is that right? But, of course, this was only your 10th Annual American Heart Ball for the Guacamole Division. You've been involved in some Heart Balls prior to this one?
I certainly have. The first Heart Ball that I did was in Marion, which is really one of the smaller areas that was in my community. We started launching Heart Balls really my first year at the American Heart Association, and the president of the South Carolina Organization for the Heart Association was Dr. James Suggs from Marion. So he said, if we're going to do this thing, we're going to start having these galas all over South Carolina, let's start off in my community first. So we did. And first year in Marion raised $30,000 at Dusty Hills Country Club, which holds less than 200 people. So it was actually fantastic, and we had a lot of board members from the American Heart Association state level board attend, and that event still carries on today. They actually are doing it for another organization, but it's been a huge event, large fundraiser for us. It went up to about $80,000.
Is that right?
Yes, and actually they're doing it for the Arts Council now, but it's a great event. Then we moved on and started doing events throughout all the larger markets, Florence, Columbia, Charleston, Greenville, Myrtle Beach. Most of those galas, it's hard to believe, they've been in existence about 10, 12 years, somewhere in that area. Started out, of course, small. You know, we were excited. I had the very first event that made $20,000 in South Carolina. Wow. And I remember how excited everybody was that a horse ride event in Myrtle Beach made $20,000. Mm-hmm. Now our Heart Balls are making over $200,000, and actually you feel like you did a bad job if you're not making over $200,000. Right. So it's amazing the changes that have taken place during my tenure at the Heart Association.
Golly, that is. So 14 years ago the excitement was 20,000. Mm-hmm. Now the excitement's really to at least hit 200,000.
That's right.
That's incredible. And of course, as you pointed out, the horse ride in Myrtle Beach, that is one event that is held in Myrtle Beach, but not in any of the other Heart Association chapters nationwide. any other charity
Right.
nationwide.
That's right. It's a fantastic event. Draws horse lovers from throughout the South. Well, it used to be just the Southeast.
Right.
Last year we got some riders from Canada, so
No.
they're coming from all over the
Oh, wow, Tammy.
country and abroad to come to Myrtle Beach to ride a horse on the beach.
This past year was the 22nd annual
Mhm.
Horseback
That's right.
Ride-a-thon.
That's right.
Kicked off originally by Jack Monroe,
That's right.
who's still very involved with the ride-a-thon.
Mhm.
And you all have now set the date for this year's event.
Yes, it's November 13th.
Okay.
Actually, campers can start heading in around the 10th and staying through the 13th, which is a Wednesday through Sunday at Lakewood Campground, which is an oceanfront campground. And it's absolutely phenomenal to believe that people will come, bring their horses. Some will travel 16 hours with 6 horses in a horse trailer and camp in Lakewood right beside their horse. Somebody's inside the trailer, and the horse is outside the trailer tied up for 3 or 4 days. But
Wow.
it's an oceanfront campground, fabulous facility, and amazing that they will actually let us in there. And they're pleased, and we're pleased.
Oh, yeah.
And our riders love it. The day after the event, they're ready to sign up for the following year.
I'm sure, Tammy. I sat next to Barbara Benton at a reception after a wedding a couple weekends ago and asked her about the ride-a-thon. She was so excited, talking about the impact it's had on Lakewood and the impact, hopefully, that Lakewood's had on the Heart Association. A great marriage there between the family campground and the American Heart Association.
Yes, it has really grown. We had the event out here at the Air Force Base on the former campground that was here when the Air Force existed, and we were making around $70,000, $80,000 I think was our top year when it was out here, with about 500 horses. When we moved over to a campground last year, we had over 1,200 horses.
Wow.
And raised $155,000. So we've almost doubled our income and almost tripled our number of horses.
That's incredible. And now, that's net income.
Yes, that's net income.
Those are net figures. What are some of the main costs associated with an event like that, Tammy?
Well, the event doesn't have a lot of cost because people pay their campsite fees directly to Lakewood. So when I quote the $155, that's not including Lakewood fees. We do provide a meal for them, and that's on Saturday that we have to pay for. And then we actually provide 2 meals. One is pizza on the ride day on the beach. And Domino's donates enough pizza for 1,500 people, which is phenomenal.
It's a great commitment.
A great commitment. And Pepsi donates the beverages, so they have 2 meals that day. And then Big D's Barbecue gives us a great price on barbecue for that evening, but there is a little cost involved with that. We have all kinds of prizes. A few of them we have to pay for. A lot of them we get donated. But there's really not a lot of expenses. One of the great prizes that we had last year, and we're hoping we're going to get back again this year, is a Gore trailer. That is a top-of-the-line horse trailer. And last year it was valued at $12,500. We're hoping he's going to make it a 4-horse trailer and bump it on up to around $20,000 this year.
Holy. Yeah, is there some expectation that he's even going to come back on board again?
He was very pleased last year, very
Really?
pleased.
Yeah.
And we've talked to him, and he hasn't told us no, so we're working
Great
strong to get that
exposure
again.
for him. Now, where is Gore Trailers located, or where is he based?
It's actually in Whiteville, North Carolina.
Is that right?
One of the largest manufacturers of horse trailers in the United States.
Huh, that's great, within our viewing area. That's wonderful. Much of Columbus County, of course, folks who tune in on a regular basis. Hopefully one of them seeing you right now.
Right,
And
that would be great.
can continue to give them that plug. It's so exciting to think about the commitment that so many folks, volunteers, just like that, someone who's willing to make a donation to help make it exciting for more folks to come, more folks to pay potentially a little more to sign up as a registration fee to be involved in the ride-a-thon, to know that this year is the 23rd annual Horseback Ride-a-thon. Is there a website for the ride-a-thon that a viewer could visit if they wanted to learn more about it?
Yeah, it's www.horsebackbeachride.com.
Horsebackbeachride.com. Okay, sure, of course. Now, that is really the only local website for any of the events. You put on an annual walk.
Right.
You obviously do an annual gala. You used to golf tournaments, and really the big focus is on 3 events. I mean, 3 events is one more than any other division of the Heart Association does, Tammy. So to think about that. But beachrod.com.
Right.
Okay, that's great. Is that site up promoting next year's event?
Yes, and folks can go to that site and actually sign up online.
Okay.
So that's wonderful. It's also a tool to help them raise money. There's an email portion of it that they can use to email 100 friends if they've got their email address and ask them for a donation. So
Right.
it's a great tool for them to use to raise money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, of course, another big event. Have you all set the date yet for the walk, the next annual?
We certainly have. It's October 9th at the Myrtle Beach Pavilion.
Okay.
Of course, last year the walk was in memory of Ashby Ward, and we had over 2,000 walkers. We're hoping to top that this year, but we know it'll be difficult to top that because that was such an outstanding event last year.
Right.
We raised $174,000. Phenomenal. Almost doubled the income we had raised the year prior.
Right.
So we're hoping to be able to do that again, but we realize that's going to be a challenge. But we really hope that all the teams that participated maybe for the first time last year were energized by it, motivated, and enthusiastic. Will get involved again this year.
Oh, absolutely. Earlier this week on the show on Monday, Rhonda Weatherford from the PD Walk to Cure Diabetes was with us talking about their event, first in this part of the state. Hopefully they'll be expanding to other parts of the state. An amazing group there since 1970 working to find a cure to diabetes. And just yesterday, Colleen Shanley was with us, folks in the Horry County Walk America, which Dennis Wade is heading up and is going to be with us next week. Be interesting to see how all these walks, and of course some groups' walks have faded back a little bit or they've pulled in a little bit. I was talking to somebody last week about the AIDS Walk here in the area, which is merging with a separate date in December to do a separate event to focus on finding a cure to AIDS.
Wow.
It's amazing to see. Walks are such an important component because it stresses the health aspect as well.
That's right. We do promote that, and we tell people if they would just get out and walk every day, they would certainly live a healthier lifestyle. They'll feel better, look better, and it's a great exercise for their hearts.
Absolutely. Tammy, big focus is the 10th annual American Heart Ball, presented by the Myrtle Beach Herald, which we're really excited about. Of course, the big event and entertainment sponsors, lots of sponsors. You all at Grand Strand Regional Medical Center coming in at a big level, the platinum level, I believe. A lot of gold sponsors, a huge turnout this year. I expect you all will have that and even more next year, particularly coming back to the Marriott. But what about that event really stands out in your mind, Tammy?
Well, if you'll remember when the band started playing, there was not a place in that room to dance. That was amazing. There have been years where it took a little while to get people motivated to dance. I tried to get a picture of chairman of the board. I couldn't even get close enough to him because of all the dancers to actually get a photo. But that was really good. Really exciting to see so many people stick around because with that event, there's an auction and then there's dinner, and it's a nice meal. Lobster and filet mignon. Started out with the crab cake and then finished with a great dessert. So people are pretty full, and then to expect the band to take off and everybody to jump up and dance, but they did. It's phenomenal that they did. Very exciting to see that. The auction was phenomenal this year. We raised almost $69,000 with the auction, which is fantastic.
That's not a net figure though, Tammy?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yes.
Almost 70,000 net. Wow.
And our goal was 60, and a week before, we were wondering if we would had enough merchandise to actually hit 60. So we were very excited to see that the auction did that well.
Yeah.
Of course, we had some great things. Jonathan Formeau at Redline Power Sports donated a wonderful four-wheeler, not just a normal four-wheeler, but a huge four-wheeler.
Right, the Bombardier 650. That was huge.
Right, it was really huge. And so somebody got a great buy on that, and we raised a lot of money from that. We also had Club Card donated a golf cart, and Ocean Lakes helped us to be able to secure that. That also was another top producer for our income. So those were two huge items that raised over $10,000 just for those two items.
Wow, yeah, and that plasma TV and some of the incredible items. I'm still hearing folks talk about some of the items that they didn't get, they really want. I said, you got to get back next year.
Right.
That's right. Hopefully we'll have those things and more next year. Of course, that golf, the four-wheeler, Jonathan had donated the exact same one last year, the Bombardier 650, which maybe even garnered a little more money last year. It's incredible to see the intake on something like that.
Right, right. It is. It was really good. We had some big spenders that night that I hope will come back again next year and spend twice as much. And then I know that there were some folks that, like you're talking about, that bid on a lot of things and didn't get anything.
Sure,
I think that the people who bid on things, that's part of the reason why they come to the Heart Ball. They look at it as a little challenge, a little fun, kind of like betting, but not really like betting, and you're helping a great charity. So
I was excited to see the numbers that went up for the Teddy Henry barbecue for $100, along with the Paul Grimshaw band. It was like 3,000. What was it, Dan?
$3,600.
Oh, come on,
and
3,600.
Teddy was he was
Blown
so
away.
excited.
Yeah, sure.
Thought it was the last item because he was almost speechless.
I'm sure he was. He is an amazing barbecue. I bought that at a Heart Ball 3 or 4 years ago, and he is crackerjack. He and Margaret do an amazing job. What about the itinerary for the evening? You talked about the silent auction. Of course, there was also the live auction, that item. What was going on during the silent auction, Tammy, for a viewer who may not have attended this year, but to get them excited about next year? What are some of the activities going on during the evening?
Well, we had cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, and usually the first hour and a half, people are really mingling. They're seeing their friends, and bidding on some of the auction items. But the hallways were just packed with people. It was really great. We had all kinds of great hors d'oeuvres, from Peking duck to beef Wellington. You could have made a meal just on the hors d'oeuvres. So just absolutely phenomenal hors d'oeuvres. And I was a little concerned, frankly, about whether they were bidding, because they were standing around talking so much that I kept wondering if they were actually making it all the way to the auction room.
Right.
But certainly they did, and that all worked out well. But the evening begins with that. Then we have the doors open to the grand ballroom around 7:30. Folks start going in there and being seated, and dinner is served at 8 o'clock. And we were really concerned about how long it would take to serve 800 people. We had set an agenda of having the band start at 9:15 to 9:30, and actually all those meals were actually served to 900 people by 9:30. And the band was able to crank up and really start playing around 9:45 to midnight. And, of course, we had the live auction during dinner. We actually started it a few minutes earlier than we had anticipated. We were going to do it at dessert, but we decided to do it while the entrees were being served, and I really think that was better for us. We've done it toward the end of the meal, past 3 or 4 years, and I think the crowd starts talking, to the folks at their table, and they just aren't paying as much attention. But this year, that seemed to be great timing for us, so I think we'll continue with that trend next year.
You need to, absolutely. Those items were bid through the roof.
They were.
That Tom Mullally dinner, the Difference in Dining dinner, we were thoroughly outbid on that. It was amazing, everything across the board.
Well, the yield on the live auction was 157% of value.
Come on.
It was absolutely phenomenal.
That is incredible. So in an instance like that, the value, let's say it was $5,000, it actually went up to close to $8,000 when you say 57% over the actual value.
That's right. That's right.
That's incredible, Tammy. Now, what would be a normal, and on the silent auction did well, maybe not that well, but did very well as it relates to the actual value?
The silent auction did about 70% of value, and that's about normal for a silent auction. Across the state, I think our average is really about 65%, so we're a little bit better than the average for South Carolina.
Such an incredible event. Now, how many other galas statewide, Tammy?
8.
Okay, great. And now the Myrtle Beach or the Waccamaw Division event. Of course, the Waccamaw Division is Horry and Georgetown County.
That's right.
You had some good support again from some Georgetown County businesses this year and sponsorships.
That's right. We had great support from Georgetown this year, and hopefully we'll continue with that trend, for many years to come, and they'll feel more of a part of it. I think when we have it at locations like the Marriott, where they offer a great room price, fantastic room at a great price this year, that encourages folks to come in from the Georgetown area and from Conway and Morrison. really throughout Horry and Georgetown County, and make it a whole evening, not just the day. And in fact, there were people when I was there setting up on Friday that were arriving Friday afternoon, spending Friday night and Saturday night. I even had a few of the men tell me that I should incorporate a golf tournament on Saturday so they could play golf while the ladies are getting ready for the heart ball.
That's an interesting
idea.
That's another thing for you to have to worry about. That's right. That's a great idea, though. That's exciting, and a lot of folks did check in. Of course, the great thing was the Marriott offered this year, which I assume they'll do next year, rates are a few days before and a few days after. $79 Garden View, $99 Ocean View rooms there, which would be double that price normally.
That's right.
If they weren't there for the heart ball.
That's right.
Incredible commitment.
And the Marriott was just absolutely beautiful. They had really gotten additional flowers and things to really make the hotel beautiful. They brought in outside people from different areas of the Marriott that really worked hard. They worked for about a week. We were down there for a meeting on Monday prior to the event. They were already setting up the room for our event. We couldn't believe that we've really never had that much service in the past. And we've had some great events, but it was really phenomenal this year. We actually have no complaints. So.
Yes, and for the 9 years prior to this event, you had many years at the Convention Center, Simple Elegance, then Kingston Plantation, back to the Convention Center, the Radisson Plaza Hotel last year, which had opened up with their grand opening gala, and then this year now at Marriott, and you expect to be there at least next year, possibly even the following year.
That's correct. That's correct. And last year when it was at the Radisson, and of course it was their grand opening, and we were turning people away. We really thought that one of the reasons that we were having such a great success was because of the Radisson, and we just knew we wouldn't be able to top that again. So we're real excited, not only that we were able to top what we had done the year before, but it helps us to know that people came to the Heart Ball because it was the Heart Ball, and they will continue to support us wherever we are, and we don't really have to partner with another organization in order to have that much support. So
those same 5 aspects will take effect next year. The incredible meal, obviously the chance to stay at the Marriott for cheap, the opportunity to make a good donation to the Heart Association, the incredible both live and silent auction, as well as hopefully having a spectacular band next year. Chairman of the board and the executives went all out. As you said, the dance floor was packed. Do you even have more room for a larger dance floor next year, Tammy?
Probably not.
Yeah. No, I think not.
Yeah, I think not. I think that 860 people with tables and a dance floor and a band in that grand ballroom is about as large as we can get.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right. It's incredible. Think about it. You'd love to be able to, a lot of folks dancing on the rug there.
Right.
All over the place. Tammy, for viewers who may not have attended the Heart Ball or thinking about it next year, obviously the 2 other events, if they don't ride horses, you can still make a commitment to help the Heart Association to fight heart disease and stroke. What are some of the ways, if you just had a couple of minutes, and that's all we got, to share with the viewer how they could help fight heart disease and stroke? What are some of the things they could do here locally?
Well, of course, they can make a donation. They can make donations to one of the walkers who's walking. They can also come to our office and volunteer. We have events going on throughout the year. Even though we don't have another event coming up until the one on October 9th, a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, a lot of manpower goes into making those 3 events successful. We need folks all the time. So if there's some viewers out there that don't really have money to donate but have time, please give us a call, 626-3939, and we can chat with them and find out what their interests are and actually get them to help us in the office or outside the office. We actually have projects they can do from their home.
Really? Okay.
So that's one way that they can help us. Of course, they can join our committees and learn all about how to organize the events and possibly even be in charge of one of the activities. So there's lots of ways in which they can help us.
That's great. Of course, making a donation, as you said, just call in the 626-3939 number.
Right.
And, of course, there are events going on throughout the state. In the PD or in southeastern North Carolina, you're still involved with the Wilmington chapter.
That's
so
right.
You're involved in events that are going on a year-round basis, both in Horry and Georgetown County as well as Brunswick and New Hanover County.
Sure. I sure am.
The date was March 6th. It was the 10th annual American Heart Ball, $249,000 raised to fight heart disease and stroke. October 9th, the next annual Heart Walk will be held at the Myrtle Beach Pavilion, and then November 13th for the 23rd annual Horseback Ride-a-thon. Call the American Heart Association office at 626-3939. Tammy and any of the folks there would want to fill you in as to how you can get involved to fight heart disease and stroke. Tammy, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. The key word is volunteer. You can volunteer your time or your resources in whatever way you can. Call the American Heart Association at 843-626-3939. We need your support.